Hello everyone. I know I missed November and this is a very big gap between my previous video, so I'm doing the ranking again, but on the first video I only did numbers 18 to 9. Now this is going to be 8 to 1. And if you don't know this, this is the My Singing Monsters ranking video. This is a revisited version of the first one I did. I'm doing it again since 2 new islands have been added. One of them is actually not done yet, but I like it so far, and you'll see why. Anyways, number 8 is the Cloud Island. Now, I like this island because it's very calm and soothing, while being very upbeat. Now, my previous like was the continent, and I like it more than the continent because mainly the Flamox. You can't really hear it though. I see that it's my spirit animal from My Singing Monsters, even though Flamoxes don't actually exist in our world. Maybe in the monster world, but not in our world. No, the Emprat really sounds very different on this island. The Shellbeat is actually one of the more odder monsters on this island. How soft the song is, and yet how intense the Shellbeat is. It and Krilby are actually the only two 4 elemental monsters to be on both the Cave Island and the Cloud Island. If you didn't know that, interesting fact of the day. I also like the octopus. No. Also, the Emprat is another weird one on it. Yeah, I think I mentioned how it's very out of character for him. Like, all the other he's very loud, but here's like very soft. It's very nice. Oh, did you know that the pom-pom, depending on which way she's facing, will either say shake it to the left and shake it to the right, from either our point of view or from her point of view. That was number 8, Cloud Island. Now, this next one is actually one of my, well, technically they're all my favorites, but this one is one that I felt is most drawn to fan art and fan conspiracies, since it only has 2 elementals. Well, maximum 2 elementals. The Ethereal Island is my number 7. Now, I like it because of its diverse number of monsters. Well, diverse being the differences in the monsters and how they're so unique. And like, if I had to be one, I would choose to be, well, in My Singing Monsters, I would choose to be an ethereal monster. And not because it's like I wouldn't want to be one of them, but it's more like I like how they look and how the Fung Prey. Whenever I listen to this, I always like act the Fung Prey, and the Fung Prey is actually in my opinion, the last that you get, unless you breed them in a different order instead of just doing like Plasma and Shadow, and Mech and Shadow, and Plasma and Shadow and Mech, depending on what order. It's like the last 2 elements that you get for Ethereal Island, Crystal and Poison, which is why like it, Dragong, and I'm gonna say pretty much anything made with poison is one of the last monsters that you can get, or you will get on the Ethereal Island, unless you get very unlucky and also very lucky at the same time. You know, this is actually one that I don't think that I talked about the amount of fan art that have come from Ethereal Island. Ethereal Island is actually one that I have a lot of fan art made for. Well, more like, not necessarily fan art, but more like images and possible 3 elemental ethereal monsters. I should show you sometime, maybe. But now it's time for number 6, the most important island that I have actually given a brief preview of, or organized it, the Gold Island. I like the Gold Island because it has 3 different parts to it. Each is like very differentiating from each other. Of course, the first part is twice as long as the other 2, individually. So the first part is half the song. It brings so many monsters together onto just one island. I think it has the most amount of individual types of monsters, excluding like rares and epics, because then there's more on other islands. Well, no, because then both rares and epics can go on the Gold Island as well, so it has the most amount of monsters that can go on it. Actually, it has an unlimited amount of monsters, so obviously it can have the most amount of monsters on it. I like listening to this song on the soundtrack because like it has a nice order to it. I mean, like the Dandy Doo doesn't actually play as long though. She plays longer in the soundtrack than in the actual song. But yeah. This is actually the only island where the pom-pom sings a verse that the hula is also on, that the hula doesn't sing along with the pom-pom. I love the chorister here. I also like the boombox on this. Power is down, boombox are too much. Loading, loading. Not good at that boombox though. It's more electrical. Can't really pronounce it in that way. That was number 6, Gold Island. Now, number 5, Space Island. Actually, the second island that I completed. Well, almost completed, yeah. I would say completed. I like the sponge. The new edition of the sponge kind of added something that was missing. Like something like kind of aside from it to give it that extra kick. Oh. The Toe Jammer is one of my favorites on this island. My favorite Toe Jammer is on this island. Oh, and also I think that I like the pom-pom I like on this one the most. Out of the Monsters Dawn of Fire game, this is my favorite pom-pom. Mainly because it goes back to the original game, and how she's less of singing, and more a monster that doesn't know English. Because I would like to know where she picked up on that English from being a child that has not actually gone to the human world. Oh, and the Sousa also plays very well with the Toe Jammer. Oh, there's the pom-pom. Yeah. Although it does kind of sound like you're on a cruise. This is one of the most upbeat songs, apart from probably the newest island of Firehaven. It's one of the most quick-paced songs. Also because mainly the Stog and the Noggin and all those, the Jumpler. Also, I love Candelabra on this island, even though she's not playing anymore, or singing, I should say. Yeah, most of the My Singing Monsters Dawn of Fire songs follow like a two-part system, where there's the first part and the second part. This is the second part. And then that was the beginning of the first part. Now, moving on the list to number 4, actually one that's monthly, and should have been near the end of November when Plixie just finished, Starhenge. Now, Starhenge has gone through a year's worth of updates, I should say. Has the most interesting monsters. And actually, my favorite Celestial is on this island. Well, obviously, it has all the Celestials on this island. My favorite is Ludwig, although my personal month is Galvana. Yeah. What do you think about Galvana? Do you think that she has 2 legs, or is it just 1? In my opinion, it kind of looks like 2, because you can kind of see an ankle kind of detached. So, I would say she has 2 legs under there. But leave comments. I'd like to know what you think about Galvana. Do you think that she has 2 legs or just 1? Also the newest island, Celestial Island, I loved. And also you can see the differences between, like, before the Celestials became Celestials, what were they like? That's what Celestial Island is like. Like Starhenge, you see all of these elderly monsters singing in such a way. I can't wait for Vamp to go to the Celestial Island. We're only missing Vamp and Galvana from the Celestial Island. What is it with the Rooty Toots? There's so many Rooty Toots on My Singing Monsters Dawn of Fire. There's like a Rooty Toot monster. Maybe I should do a video on that, on why there's so many Rooty Toots. Like, Galvana sings it, Glacier kinda sings it. There's other monsters that say Rooty Toot, and then there's also a Rooty Toot monster. But that was Starhenge, number 4. Now, number 3, my all-time favorite My Singing Monsters Dawn of Fire song, Cave Island. You know, the addition to the riff was an interesting one, but it's not one of my wasn't my favorite update, but it did make the song a tidbit better. Not a lot better, but better. Am I scaring you? Got a haircut. Don't need to tell you about these things, you can tell. So, Cave Island. This one doesn't actually follow the regular 2-part. This is kind of a 2-part split into 4 or 6. I think Cave Island will be one of the first islands that I dissect if I make them for My Singing Monsters Dawn of Fire. It'll be harder since you can't really pause the monsters like you do in the regular game. Because in the first game, if you pause them and then woke them up, they wouldn't play until their track starts again. But in this game, if you make them sleep and then awaken them, they'll continue to play no matter what. Unless their song ends, or where their track ends. Yelmid is actually my favorite 4-elemental monster in the entire game. 4-elemental monster. Yeah, even though my monster is Flamox, the Yelmid is my favorite, song-wise. I like this. That flower, that final flower moment. Now, number 2, I think, well, these 2 were a close call, but since Celestial Island wasn't done, I can't give it first place. Yes, Celestial Island. I love the addition of Furnos. That's why I decided to extend my finishing date. I wanted to get a little bit of time before Furnos was released, so then we can actually hear Furnos. Oh yeah, it's a bit weird how Furnos just joins at the end of the verse. When I add Furnos to my dissection of Celestial Island, it's gonna have 2 tracks. Although, I did notice that Furnos is now 3x3, even though in Dawn of Fire, he was 2x2. I think it's because the baby form had to be a bit larger for some reason, even though it should be the older version is larger, but I think, I don't know. But you do know that Furnos actually gains 2 arms from his head, I would believe, because the 2 arms he uses are different from the 2 arms he uses in Dawn of Fire. Also, it's not the first time where monsters have lost arms. Ludwig now only has 2 arms, and has to play with one of his or her feet. Quixie also is able to float without even being able to have very good wings. She just floats. My second favorite island. Couldn't put it at first place because it's not done. But once it has finally come out, I'm pretty sure it's going to be my favorite. But, well, first place still stands. My all-time favorite island, Wublin Island. Let's give it a listen. My favorite Wublin is Bon Appetit. It's definitely in my top 5, or yeah, top 5 monsters. Bon Appetit is up there, mainly because of its odd noise and its intelligent name, bringing both Bon Appetit, 2 monsters, Bona and Petit, and also Bon Appetit, a French saying for good eating. Direct translation. Another. Also, monsters are just so unique. I just don't know how to explain them. They're not natural because they're supernatural. I made an entire video about how I think the monsters were thought of as different elements before they actually were created by the Wolboks. And like, if you watch it, you'll understand. I made some pretty good points, and once you watch it, you'll understand. Just think about it. My Singing Monsters Big Blue Bubble made a video when I watched it, and they said that the Zuker has some similarities with Kano. I brought up these points in my video, but maybe there's something to it. Zuker resembles Kano. Just a sneak peek. Watch it. It's in my theories video series. Well, that was a nice video, and you got to listen to the last half of the Monster World. But I need to just say, please, if you've stayed this long, subscribe, like this video, comment on what you liked and what you didn't like, how I can improve, and all that jazz. But I just need to say goodbye about